But I'm going to start here with an e-ink tablet, so use my new Kindle Scribe, but you can use anything, a piece of paper, whatever. And we are going to create a project, and to gain momentum, that's the other question, how do you gain momentum and motivate it? I would say start on a Monday or maybe Sunday evening to make this list. And I'm going to film, how to build this up. But the idea is you will have to select 5 projects that really matter to you. And the first week we are going to do Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. We are going to put some time aside every day on each of these 5 projects that matter to you. And then what I would do is I will have a sheet where you tick off the box to say yes, I worked on it, or you put a cross if you didn't. But ideally you put a check mark, so it's just to be accountable. Another thing that I think is important, you also need a work-life balance, and that's something I've always been struggling with. But you feel much better if you also have a balance and you do things like sports, arts, creativity, music, whatever you like to do, or reading a book, meditation. So what I also recommend is to create a second list, and in there I would add 3 things that make you feel zen and that you like to do during the week. So I would set some time out every day where you are going to make some time for these things that matter to you and matter to your health and benefits. So the idea is really to get more productive. So yeah, it's hard to do this five different projects in 1 week, but this is just to gain momentum and to get back into your files or your project, get things organized. So you set maybe 2 hours away to just specifically focus and think on this and how you're going to tackle it. Then in subsequent weeks, what I would do is I would set a week aside, or maybe several weeks, where you focus just on one of those projects until they're accomplished, and then you move on to the next and to the next until you finish all the 5. The whole program, how long it takes, I don't know. It depends on your projects. I will try it out like you. I'm excited about this actually. It's been a long time, things that I really want to focus on and that really matter to me. So let's get started. I'm going to show you how I'm preparing basically this up. So, you have a Kindle Scribe or whatever, something else, but here I'm showing how it works here. So the cool thing is, well, first you can, here you create a new notebook, and there are several templates you can choose from. So what I would do is I would choose one template for your projects, basically to list your 5 important projects or things you want to do. And I don't know, I found like this corner note, but you can choose whatever you like. And so I click on this. So that's the first one. And then I can, I want to see my workspace or my notebook basically. So I can create several pages. So I will basically duplicate this guy. So I have 2 of them. The first one is for my 5 projects. The second one is for the 3 things I want to set aside, time aside for myself. So you can duplicate this guy. All right, so I have this, the project, the free time, I guess that's how I would call it. And then we need the accountability thing. So I will click on this. I can change the template. And here I would do, let's see, there's one here, the habit tracker. Yeah, let's choose that one. Apply to selected page. And here you basically can see that, I will show it later, but you have a series of numbers which are your days in the month. And then I would add, your projects and maybe your free time things you want to set aside, and then, add some check marks. And then the last one, the very important one, is this one, because I was holding it. All right, change the template, and here I'm going to select something like a planner, a weekly planner. I think this one is pretty good. So this one. All right, there we go. Okay, and then I can duplicate stuff. This one is for projects, this one for free time, this one is your accountability thing, you know, where you put your check marks, and this one is actually your weekly planner. So you have Monday through Friday, and here Saturday, Sunday. And here I would just, you know, write down one for your first week. So which project are you going to focus on from Monday to Friday? You know, maybe which leisure part you want to do on those days. And then I would duplicate that one, and then later you can duplicate again, and that would be later, you know, week number 2 and 3 and 4, where you are going to focus maybe on project 1 first and then on project 2. So you make sure you set time aside, and in the subsequent week when you start to focus on one project, like project 1, you could then add, you know, in these different fields what you specifically want to actually focus on. So the key is really to keep it simple but still have a list, so you know exactly what you want to do. So here's how this would look like. So if I click on this guy, so here's my list of projects. And so basically I would add here my project, you know. And here I just put a generic one. I did my own, but you know, it's just, you want to keep your stuff private, right? And then, you know, you could select different colors just for the motivation. And I would leave some space if you want to add some notes or more detail, but you know, here project number 2. So that's what I would do. If you want, you know, you can add some notes for each project. So on the next page I have this one. So this one would be the list of 3 things for my free time. This is things, you know, I would say my Zen time, right? Things to make you feel good. This is Zen 1, Zen 3. Alright, so what's next? So here would basically be your list. Here you can see the days. So if you're in July, I guess we're somewhere down here right now. And I would actually add here my list of things. So you could also, you know, double check the colors if you like that. But I would start maybe with, you know, projects. Project 1, 5. And then for the Zen we have 3, right? So yeah, let's call it Zen. So I like that. Zen 1 and Zen 3, however you like to call it. So during the week, you know, you check out, and let's say, you know, we had like somewhere here, the first one, 1st of August or whatever, and when you did it, when you did your thing, you put a little mark like this. If you didn't do it, put a mark like this, but ideally, you know, you start with this the first week, and then subsequent weeks you try your best, you know, don't beat yourself up if it doesn't work. And then the next one would be this. So here I would personally just, you know, have one like this for both, you know, projects and Zen. Maybe projects, you know, that matter. So that's week number 1, and I suggest you start with this. And of course you have all these other deadlines and things, they are also important, you have to get them done. But maybe, you know, set aside at least 2 to 3 hours if you can. I would say like 2 hours minimum, because it takes an hour to get really into the flow and focused, and then you're really in it and you can work a full hour. And set that time aside for you. I really prefer to do this in the morning, so I wake up really early, and before anyone wakes up or whatever, I receive emails, I work on this, and then I move on, you know, to the other parts of life or work or whatever. So yeah, let's get this done together. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope to see you in the next. Thanks for tuning in. See you.